There's a hidden power in silence that most people overlook. In a world that glorifies sharing every detail of our lives, from our fears to our dreams, it's easy to forget the value of keeping certain things to ourselves. But here's the truth. What you don't say can be just as powerful as what you do. The Stoics knew this centuries ago, and it's a lesson that's never been more relevant than today. By guarding certain aspects of your life, your fears, your struggles, your plans, you don't just protect your peace, you become untouchable. You gain control over your narrative, over your emotions, and over the way the world sees you. In this video, we're going to dive deep into the art of keeping 7 key things private. This isn't about building walls or shutting people out. It's about reclaiming your power in a world that constantly demands you to lay it all out there. So, if you're ready to discover how a little bit of silence can bring a lot of strength, stick around. What we're about to explore could change the way you approach life, relationships, and even success itself. And if you appreciate what we're doing here, a simple free favor I'll ask from you is to hit that subscribe button. Don't skip any part of this video, because every point we cover could be the key to unlocking a more powerful and peaceful you. Let's get started. Let's talk about something deeply personal, your fears. We all have them. Those dark, unsettling thoughts that creep into our minds when we're alone, feeling vulnerable or uncertain. Maybe it's the fear of failure, the fear of rejection, or even something more profound, like the fear of being alone or not living up to your potential. These fears can be powerful, shaping our decisions, our behaviors, and even our relationships. But here's the thing. Stoic philosophy teaches us that our fears are not something to be handed over to others like a casual confession. They are, in many ways, the most intimate part of our inner world, and sharing them openly can actually give away a piece of your power. Think about it this way. When you reveal your deepest fears, you're essentially handing someone else the keys to your emotional fortress. Even those with the best intentions might see you differently once they know what makes you tremble. They might pity you, which can feel belittling. Or worse, they might unintentionally or intentionally use that knowledge to manipulate situations to their advantage. It's not that everyone is out to get you, but once your fears are out in the open, they can no longer be yours alone to conquer. They become a shared burden, something that others can influence, and not always in ways that benefit you. The Stoics believed that true strength comes from within, from our ability to confront our fears head-on, without relying on external validation or comfort. Marcus Aurelius faced immense pressures and fears as the Emperor of Rome. But instead of sharing those fears with the people around him, he used them as fuel for self-mastery. He understood that to lead and to live a life of virtue, he had to keep his fears close, working through them internally and turning them into a source of strength rather than a weakness to be exploited. When you keep your fears private, you're not suppressing them or pretending they don't exist. Instead, you're taking control of them. You're acknowledging that these fears are part of your journey, but they do not define you. By confronting them in silence, you give yourself the space to understand them fully, to dissect where they come from and why they hold power over you. This process not only helps you to diminish the hold these fears have on you, but it also allows you to emerge stronger, more resilient, and more self-assured. Now, I'm not saying you should never talk about your fears with anyone. There's a time and place for vulnerability, especially with people you trust deeply. But the key is to be selective, to understand that not everyone needs to know your innermost struggles. By keeping your fears largely to yourself, you maintain a level of mystery and control over your personal narrative. It's a way of safeguarding your peace of mind and ensuring that your journey through life is dictated by your own terms, not by the judgments or reactions of others. The world might tell you to talk it out, to share your burdens as a way of lightening the load. But the Stoic approach suggests a different path, one of quiet strength, where your fears are not a topic of conversation, but a source of personal power. Let them be the fire that burns within you, driving you forward, but never escaping your control. This kind of inner mastery is what truly makes you untouchable, allowing you to navigate life with a calm, unshakable confidence that can only come from within. We all have those moments when things didn't go as planned, when you missed the mark, or when life threw a curveball that you just couldn't dodge. It's part of the human experience and, honestly, it's what makes us grow. But here's where Stoic wisdom comes into play. How you handle those failures, especially how you share them with others, can make all the difference in how you move forward. You might be tempted to talk about your failures, thinking it will make you more relatable or even admirable. There's a lot of pressure in today's culture to be open about your struggles, to wear your scars like badges of honor. And while there's value in learning from failure, the Stoics would advise caution in making your past mistakes a central part of your story. Why? Because the more you talk about your failures, the more you risk being defined by them, both in your own mind and in the eyes of others. When you share your past failures, people often focus more on the failure itself than on the lessons you've learned or the resilience you've gained. They might start to see you through the lens of those setbacks, subtly altering their perception of you. Instead of being seen as someone who is strong and capable, you might be seen as someone who is marked by those failures. And in a competitive world, this can be particularly harmful, especially when people are quick to judge or when those failures are used against you, even unintentionally. The Stoics, like Epictetus, believed that we should focus on what we can control, our actions in the present and our intentions for the future. Dwelling on past failures, especially publicly, can trap you in the past, making it harder to move forward. Every time you retell the story of a failure, you're reinforcing its presence in your mind, keeping it alive and active. This can prevent you from fully letting go and embracing the new opportunities that lie ahead. By constantly revisiting what went wrong, you risk becoming fixated on the past rather than focused on the potential of what you can do now. Another thing to consider is how sharing your failures can sometimes invite pity or unwanted advice. While sympathy might feel good in the moment, it can also undermine your confidence. Being seen as someone who needs to be comforted or reassured can chip away at your sense of self-reliance. It can also change the dynamics of your relationships, where instead of being viewed as the strong, capable person you are, you might be seen as someone who's still struggling to overcome past mistakes. This is not to say that you should never talk about your failures. There's a time and a place for that, especially in safe, supportive environments. But the Stoic approach is to internalize the lessons from those failures and use them to strengthen your character rather than making them part of your public narrative. Marcus Aurelius endured many challenges and setbacks during his reign as emperor. Yet he didn't dwell on these publicly. Instead, he focused on his virtues, his duties, and how he could better serve his people. He let his actions, not his past failures, define his legacy. When you keep your past failures to yourself, you give yourself the space to reflect on them privately, to extract the wisdom they offer, and to apply those lessons quietly in your life. This way, you're not burdened by the weight of others' perceptions or the fear of judgment. You can move forward more freely, unencumbered by the need to explain yourself or justify your past decisions. It's about reclaiming your narrative and choosing to be defined by your present actions and future potential, not by what went wrong in the past. In a world that often encourages us to share every detail of our lives, holding back on sharing your past failures might seem counterintuitive. But if you value your personal growth and want to be seen for who you are now, not who you were, then keeping those failures private is a powerful choice. Let your successes, your resilience, and your wisdom speak for themselves, and allow your past failures to remain what they are, stepping stones on your path to becoming a stronger, wiser version of yourself. Money. It's something that touches every aspect of our lives, yet it's also one of the most sensitive subjects we can discuss. Whether you're experiencing financial success or facing challenges, there's a powerful case to be made for keeping those details to yourself. Stoic philosophy, with its focus on personal virtue and inner peace, offers some timeless wisdom here. Think about it. We live in a world where wealth is often seen as a measure of success, and it's tempting to share when things are going well. Maybe you've gotten a big raise, made a smart investment, or made a significant purchase that you're proud of. It feels good to share these wins, to have others acknowledge your achievements. But here's the catch. Once you start discussing your finances openly, you're opening a door that might be better left closed. Sharing financial details can lead to unintended consequences that you might not see coming. For starters, it can breed envy, even among your closest friends. You might think you're just making conversation, but to someone who's struggling financially or feeling insecure about their own situation, hearing about your financial successes can stir up feelings of inadequacy or resentment. And these feelings, even if unspoken, can create tension in your relationships. The Stoics would remind us that harmony in our relationships is essential to our peace of mind, and discussing wealth can disrupt that harmony in subtle but significant ways. On the flip side, if you're struggling financially and you choose to share that, you might find yourself the subject of pity or unsolicited advice. While it can be comforting to have someone lend a sympathetic ear, constantly talking about financial difficulties can reinforce a negative mindset. It can make you feel more stuck in your situation, as if your financial challenges are defining you. The Stoic approach would encourage you to focus on what you can control, your actions, your efforts to improve your situation, rather than dwelling on the problem itself or seeking validation from others. There's also the issue of expectation. When people know your financial situation, whether good or bad, it can change the way they interact with you. If you're well off, others might start to see you as a resource, expecting you to cover more of the bill at dinner, lend money, or contribute more to group activities. This can create awkward and uncomfortable situations where you feel pressured to meet these expectations, even when it's not what you want or what's best for you. On the other hand, if you're struggling financially, people might treat you differently, either with pity or with a certain condescension, as if you need their guidance or help. Stoicism teaches us to detach our sense of self-worth from external factors, and money is one of the biggest external factors there is. The more you talk about your financial situation, the more likely you are to tie your identity to it. If you're proud of your financial achievements, sharing them might subtly reinforce the idea that your value is connected to your bank balance. Conversely, if you're facing financial difficulties, discussing them openly can reinforce feelings of inadequacy or stress. The Stoics would advise us to find value in our character, our actions, and our virtues, rather than in the material wealth we accumulate or lack. Consider the example of Marcus Aurelius, one of the wealthiest men of his time, yet you wouldn't know it from reading his writings. He rarely mentioned his wealth, focusing instead on his duties, his principles, and his commitment to the greater good. To Marcus, and to the Stoics in general, wealth was seen as indifferent, neither good nor bad in itself, but something that could be used wisely or foolishly. By not discussing it openly, Marcus avoided the pitfalls of envy, judgment, and the false sense of security that can come from material wealth. In a society that often equates wealth with worth, choosing not to share your financial details might seem countercultural, even radical. But if you value your relationships, your mental peace, and your sense of self, you'll find that there's great wisdom in keeping your financial matters private. Let your true wealth be measured by the quality of your thoughts, actions, and relationships, not by the balance of your bank account. After all, the richest life is one where you're in control of what truly matters: your character, your choices, and your peace of mind. Whether it's the stress from work, the strain of a difficult relationship, or the pressure of meeting expectations, we all face challenges that can feel overwhelming at times. It's only natural to want to talk about these struggles, to vent to a friend, or seek comfort from those around us. But here's where Stoic wisdom offers a different perspective. Sometimes the best way to deal with these challenges is to keep them to yourself, to confront them quietly and with dignity, rather than airing them out for the world to see. You see, when you share your personal life challenges with others, you might find some immediate relief. After all, it feels good to get things off your chest. But what happens next? Often, sharing these struggles doesn't solve them. Instead, it can leave you feeling even more burdened. You might feel like you've transferred some of your inner turmoil to those around you, but without actually resolving it. The Stoics believed that true strength comes from within, from your ability to face life's difficulties head-on, without relying too heavily on external support or validation. When you talk openly about your struggles, you might be seeking validation, hoping that someone will tell you that everything will be okay, or that you're doing the right thing. But this kind of reassurance, while comforting in the moment, can actually weaken your resolve over time. It can make you dependent on others for your sense of security and strength, rather than building that resilience within yourself. The more you rely on others to help you carry your burdens, the more you risk feeling powerless when those people aren't around or when their responses don't meet your expectations. There's also the risk of being seen through the lens of your challenges rather than your strengths. Even those with the best intentions might start to view you as someone who's struggling, someone who needs to be handled with care. This can subtly change the dynamics of your relationships, where you're no longer seen as the capable, strong person you are, but as someone defined by their difficulties. Stoicism teaches us to guard our inner world, to preserve our dignity by not letting our challenges overshadow our virtues and strengths. Sharing your struggles can also create an unhealthy cycle of venting without action. It's easy to fall into the trap of talking about your problems over and over again without actually doing anything to resolve them. This can lead to a sense of helplessness, where you feel stuck in your situation because you're focusing more on the problem than on the solution. The Stoics were all about action, about taking responsibility for your life and making the necessary changes to improve your situation rather than getting bogged down in endless discussions of what's wrong. There's something incredibly empowering about facing your challenges in silence. When you keep your struggles to yourself, you give yourself the space to process them, to really think about what's going on and what you need to do to move forward. You're not distracted by the opinions or reactions of others. Instead, you're fully present with your own thoughts and emotions, allowing you to gain a deeper understanding of what's really at play. This kind of introspection is a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy, where the focus is on cultivating inner strength and wisdom through self-reflection and personal responsibility. Now, I'm not saying you should never seek support. There are times when it's important to reach out to trusted friends, family, or professionals for help. but the key is to do so selectively, and with the understanding that not every challenge needs to be shared. By keeping some of your struggles private, you're preserving your energy, your focus, and your mental clarity. You're allowing yourself to work through your challenges in your own way, on your own terms, without the noise of external opinions or the pressure of others' expectations. In a world that often equates vulnerability with strength, it might seem counterintuitive to suggest that some things are better kept within. But if you value your inner peace and personal growth, you'll find that there's great wisdom in embracing silence. By keeping your personal challenges private, you're not shutting others out. You're simply choosing to navigate your life with a quiet strength that is uniquely your own. It's about recognizing that true resilience comes from within, from your ability to face life's difficulties with grace, courage, and a deep, unshakable confidence in your own ability to overcome whatever comes your way. In today's world, where every opinion seems to spark a debate, it's easy to feel pressured to share where you stand on the political spectrum. Whether it's in conversations with friends, posts on social media, or even casual remarks at work, the temptation to voice your political views is everywhere. But here's where the wisdom of Stoicism can offer some valuable guidance. Sometimes the most powerful stance you can take is to keep those beliefs to yourself. Politics is inherently polarizing. No matter how well-intentioned your views might be, sharing them openly can lead to conflicts that are often unnecessary and unproductive. People's political beliefs are tied to their identities, shaped by their values, experiences, and emotions. When you express your political stance, you're not just sharing an opinion, you're revealing a part of your identity that others might strongly disagree with. This can lead to heated debates, strained relationships, and even lasting rifts with people you care about. The Stoics believed in focusing on what you can control, your thoughts, actions, and responses, rather than getting entangled in the external chaos of the world. Engaging in political debates, especially in today's hypercharged environment, can quickly pull you into a cycle of frustration and emotional exhaustion. The back-and-forth arguments, the need to defend your position, and the inevitable encounters with hostility can take a significant toll on your peace of mind. By keeping your political beliefs private, you protect yourself from this turmoil, allowing yourself to maintain inner calm and focus on personal growth rather than public conflict. There's also the issue of judgment and stereotyping. Once you've shared your political beliefs, people might start to see you differently, reducing your entire identity to that one aspect of who you are. They might make assumptions about your character, intelligence, or intentions based solely on your political stance. This can limit opportunities, strain professional relationships, and even lead to discrimination or backlash, especially if your views are in the minority within your social or work circles. The Stoic approach would advise against allowing external opinions to define you, encouraging you instead to cultivate a strong sense of self that isn't dependent on others' approval or agreement. Moreover, discussing politics openly can sometimes turn into a fruitless endeavor. While you might hope for meaningful dialogue, these conversations often spiral into arguments where no one's mind is truly changed. Instead of fostering understanding, they can entrench people further in their own beliefs, leading to more division than connection. The Stoics were practical philosophers. They believed in focusing on what truly matters and what can actually make a difference in your life. Rather than getting caught up in endless debates, they would encourage you to direct your energy toward actions that align with your values and contribute to the greater good, without the need for public declarations. It's also important to consider how sharing your political beliefs can affect your personal relationships. Politics can be incredibly divisive, even among close friends and family members. I've seen friendships and even family ties strained or broken over political disagreements. People who once got along well find themselves at odds, unable to reconcile their differing views. By keeping your political beliefs private, you allow your relationships to be defined by shared experiences, mutual respect, and common interests, rather than by divisive politics. Marcus Aurelius navigated one of the most complex political landscapes in history, yet he focused on universal principles like justice, wisdom, and duty, rather than getting entangled in the partisan conflicts of his time. In his meditations, you won't find political diatribes or declarations of allegiance. Instead, you'll find reflections on how to live a virtuous life, how to lead with integrity, and how to maintain inner peace amidst external chaos. Marcus understood that true influence comes not from loud proclamations, but from the quiet strength of living according to one's principles. In a world where politics feels inescapable, choosing to keep your political beliefs to yourself might seem countercultural, even controversial. But if you value your peace of mind, your relationships, and your personal growth, you'll find that there's great strength in silence. Let your actions reflect your values, and let your political beliefs remain a private compass that guides you through life's complexities. This way, you can navigate the turbulent waters of today's world with a steady hand, a calm mind, and an unwavering commitment to what truly matters. Love, connection, and partnership are some of the most meaningful experiences we have as humans. These relationships can bring immense joy and fulfillment, but they can also be delicate and complex. The Stoics, with their focus on inner peace and resilience, offer some timeless advice on why it's often best to keep the details of your romantic life private. When you're in love, it's natural to want to share that happiness with the world. Social media, for instance, encourages us to broadcast our relationships, from the first date to anniversaries, from the small gestures to the grand romantic moments. But here's something to consider. The more you share about your romantic relationship, the more you invite outside opinions, judgments, and interference into something that should be sacred and personal. One of the key teachings of Stoicism is the importance of maintaining control over your own life and emotions. When you open up your romantic relationship to the world, you're giving others the power to influence it. People may offer unsolicited advice, make judgments, or even compare your relationship to their own or to some idealized standard. This can create unnecessary pressure and expectations, both from within and from those around you. Suddenly, a relationship that was once a source of joy and comfort can become a source of stress and anxiety as you try to live up to external standards or fend off unwanted opinions. Moreover, sharing the ups and downs of your relationship can weaken the bond you share with your partner. Relationships thrive on trust, communication, and mutual respect. When you involve others in your private matters, even unintentionally, you risk diluting the intimacy that holds you and your partner together. The Stoics would remind us that true strength in a relationship comes from within, from the connection you build together in private, not from the approval or validation of others. There's also the issue of how sharing too much can expose your relationship to potential harm. We all know that not everyone has good intentions. When you share intimate details of your romantic life, you open the door for others to potentially undermine your relationship. Jealousy, envy, and even gossip can creep in, creating rifts where there were none before. The Stoics valued tranquility and harmony, both within oneself and in one's relationships. By keeping your romantic life private, you protect it from the negative influences that can arise from too much public exposure. Another aspect to consider is how publicizing your relationship can affect the way you perceive it. When you constantly share your romantic milestones, it's easy to start measuring the success of your relationship by how others react. Did the post get enough likes? Did people comment on how cute you are together? This external validation can create a cycle where your happiness in the relationship becomes tied to how others perceive it, rather than how you and your partner truly feel about each other. Stoicism teaches us to find contentment within ourselves and our own experiences, rather than seeking it from external sources. Then there's the reality that relationships are not always smooth sailing. Every couple goes through challenges, arguments, misunderstandings, and periods of doubt. While it might seem comforting to vent about these issues to friends or to share your frustrations online, doing so can create more problems than it solves. Once you've aired your grievances publicly, it can be hard to take them back. Others might start to see your partner in a different light, or worse, they might take sides, further complicating the situation. The Stoic approach would encourage you to handle these challenges within the relationship itself, through open and honest communication with your partner, rather than seeking external validation or advice. There's a profound power in keeping your romantic relationship private. It allows you and your partner to navigate the complexities of love on your own terms, free from the noise and interference of the outside world. It fosters a deeper sense of trust and intimacy, as you both know that what you share is truly yours, not something to be displayed or judged by others. This kind of privacy isn't about secrecy or hiding. It's about safeguarding the sanctity of your connection, ensuring that it remains strong, resilient, and true. Whether it's a career change, a personal project, a significant life decision, or even just a new direction you're thinking of taking, the idea of making a big move can fill you with anticipation and drive. It's natural to want to share your plans with others, to talk about what you're working on, to get feedback, or simply to share your excitement. But here's where the wisdom of Stoicism can guide us. Sometimes, the best way to protect your plans and ensure their success is to keep them to yourself until they're fully realized. When you're planning your next big move, it's a delicate process. You're likely balancing a lot of emotions: excitement, doubt, fear, and hope. Sharing your plans prematurely can expose them to a host of external pressures that you might not be prepared for. People, even with the best intentions, might start offering advice, questioning your decisions, or projecting their own fears onto your plans. This can create doubt where there was once confidence, or make you second-guess yourself at a time when you need to be focused and determined. The Stoics believed in maintaining control over your own life and decisions, without letting external factors dictate your actions. When you share your next big move with others, you open the door for outside influences to shape your thinking. Instead of following your own path, you might find yourself adjusting your plans to meet others' expectations or to avoid their criticisms. This can dilute your original vision and make it harder for you to achieve the outcome you truly desire. By keeping your plans private, you give yourself the space to think clearly, make decisions based on your own values and goals, and move forward with confidence. There's also the issue of pressure. Once you've told people about your big move, there's an unspoken expectation that you'll follow through. This can create a sense of obligation, where your plans become less about what you truly want and more about meeting the expectations you've set in others' minds. This pressure can be particularly intense if you encounter setbacks or decide to change direction. Suddenly, what was once a personal journey becomes a public narrative, and any change in course can feel like a failure in the eyes of those who were aware of your plans. The Stoic approach encourages you to focus on what you can control, your actions and your mindset, rather than the opinions or expectations of others. Another consideration is how sharing your plans can lead to unnecessary distractions. When you talk about your next big move, you invite others to offer their opinions, advice, and sometimes even criticism. While feedback can be valuable, too much input can overwhelm you and cloud your judgment. It's easy to get caught up in other people's ideas and lose sight of your own. The Stoics valued simplicity and clarity of thought. By keeping your plans private, you protect your mental space and ensure that your focus remains sharp. You're able to concentrate on what matters most, taking the steps necessary to turn your vision into reality. There's also something powerful about the element of surprise. When you keep your next big move to yourself, you maintain control over the timing and the way it's revealed to the world. This can give you a strategic advantage, especially in competitive environments. Whether it's a new business venture, a creative project, or a personal goal, unveiling your plans when they're already in motion can create a stronger impact and reduce the chances of others undermining or copying your ideas before you've had a chance to execute them. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the importance of inner strength and self-reliance. He understood that true power comes from within, from the ability to stay grounded and focused amidst the chaos of the external world. When it comes to your next big move, this Stoic wisdom can be incredibly valuable. By holding your plans close, you build that inner strength, ensuring that your decisions are guided by your own principles and goals, rather than by the shifting opinions of others. As we close, remember this. The strength to protect your peace and control your life lies in what you choose to keep within. In a world that constantly pushes for more sharing, choose to hold certain things close, because what you guard is where your true power resides. If this resonated with you, I encourage you to check out one of the suggested videos on the screen. It's the next step on your journey toward living with greater intention and inner strength. Thank you for being a part of Stoic Journal, where we explore the wisdom that helps you navigate life with clarity and purpose. Until next time, stay strong and stay true to yourself.